There's an error. Wait a moment and try again. Guess destination from juries. I think we have a slight. Hold on. Okay, great. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. How are you guys doing? Welcome to your weekly Pulse Check with Dr. Dale Laing-Hall, and I have a treat for you guys today. Wait a minute. Let me go live on TikTok over here. We gotta go live everywhere, you guys. We gotta go live everywhere. So, yes, you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing with the right person. So, my goodness, let me just tell you, I'm just say it off the bat. We have the amazing Jerice Isaac with us today. I'm gonna let her tell you all about who she is, what she does, and what she is about. Before I say that, let me just say that the subject of this conversation is the future of HRIS, right? And how we can integrate AI, EI into our lives for success, right? And whatever that looks like is what it looks like. And this is what we're going to get. I don't know how we're going to end up, but that's how we're going to start. Jerry's. So I'm gonna just hand it over to you. Tell the beautiful people of the world who you are, what you're about, what do you do, and we're gonna take it from there. So floor is yours.
Well, hi, how are you? Nice to meet everyone. I am Jerice Isaac. I am a HR slash HRIS professional. Most of my work is done in the HRIS field, but I am a full cycle HR professional and have been for about 20 plus years. I've worked in many different areas within the HR space. And so I am a guru on most of the different divisions and subdivisions within HR, including some extended onto finance as well, and budget, and even IT. And so I'm a well rounded human resources information systems professional.
Very, very well rounded. Very well rounded. How many years have you been in this space, Jerry's?
And specifically in the HRS space, I've probably been in it about 10 years. Yeah.
And what degrees do you have,
Okay,
Jerry's?
so I have acquired a master's in adult education, as well as I have a bachelor's in business management. Um, and I acquired that master's of adult education because I actually have a love also for training and sharing knowledge. So it plays very well into my educational background.
So just establish the expertise, the background, the experience, the mindset of working with various groups of people from all walks of life.
Mhm.
Jerice, I'm gonna start us, just start us with the warm stuff, the soft but strong stuff. All right, ma. That was my mom, you guys. Had to say bye to my mom. She's stepping out. So, you posted on LinkedIn recently a post quoting, talking about Simon Sinek, and you were referencing something that he mentioned. And I'm going to read that post. It spoke to me when I saw it because I resonate so much with it. And it says, I am fueled by an unwavering passion to uplift those around me, devoted to nurturing the growth and success of the employees I lead. Just yesterday, in a heartfelt conversation with my leader, we explored the essence of succession planning, underscoring the power of sharing wisdom so that our absence leaves no void in the organization or our teams. And Simon, of course, mentioning Simon Sinek and his profound teaching on when he was sharing about the invaluable insight of being a leader, right? And the part that stuck with me with what you said was devoted to nurturing the growth and success of the people you lead.
Yes. So 100%, if you know me personally and professionally, that is me in every essence of the world. Um, I pride myself on being able, you always hear these different phrases when you work for different corporations or even government entity, no matter where you work for, okay, from the grocery bagger all the way to the CEO of the company, right?
Yeah.
You find that over the years, individuals that don't share information, um, they stay very siloed, some self-inflicted and some because of organizational impact and environment, right? And so a lot of people like to use the phrase "I'm indispensable," or they like to feel that way, right? And so I find that it's not the goal to be indispensable to the organization or the environment that you're with. It's the goal to be indispensable to yourself. And so when you have elevated that thinking to where you are an individual, that you think about your own brand and then how you can be of service to others, and that's servant leadership, right? And helping them excel and go to the next level, then this is the thinking and the mindset that you carry along with you. So when I graduated into this leadership position, because I've always been a leader, whether it was a leader of people, a leader of process programs. I've always been a leader by nature, right? But when I graduated into people leadership at the level that I'm at, because I manage a full service HRS 18-person team, and they're all remote. We have no drama, we have no issues. Individuals show up, they get their work done, and they excel, and they want to be innovative, they want to excel, they want professional development. And so I attest that environment to the way that I lead and the way that I strategically try to share information. And then I look at where we are as an HRS team and in that space. And that should be our vision and just the drive that we have to help organizations, right? Through data make decisions, through analysis, all of those different things. It connects, right? Sharing information and sharing knowledge, training and helping others throughout your organization to do their job and therefore better, right? And a lot of people think HRS and they think just data systems, getting stuff done. But behind the scenes and the meat and the potato of that is that a mindset and an SLA, which is a server level agreement that states that we are here to help you function, to be the foundation of how you function, whether it be processes, procedures, administration, and therefore then interaction.
So what if so I'm gonna the devil's advocate, right? There are leaders out there that say, you said in that post that you are devoted to nurturing the growth of your team. There are leaders out there and said that's not my problem. I'm not gonna help you grow or find your career path and be whatever. You're here to do a job. Come in, clock in, and leave. I don't want to hear and do anything else as it relates to you. What do you say to that? What do you say to that thinking?
I say that they have a personal struggle. So leaders like that have their own personal struggle, and it has nothing to do with their team. It has everything to do with how they feel about themselves, right? Confidence breeds confidence. Confidence allows other confidence and space to grow. When you truly believe in yourself and you practice a level of emotional intelligence that is connected to self-awareness, then that's not how you don't lead that way, right? You have to be self-aware and you have to be aware of your own triggers, your own personal insecurities, all of those different things. People think that you shed that when you come to work, right? You don't. You are who you are in your personal life and in your professional life. Sometimes we put on a show or act when we come in a professional development environment because we get paid, right?
Yeah.
However, that's not something that you're able to shed. You're not able to shed insecurities. You're not able to shed triggers, right? If you're self-aware, then you know how to interact with those challenges when you're interacting with other people too as well. So I say that those individuals lack self-awareness and they lack self-truth, essentially, to look at themselves before they're leading other individuals.
100%. I couldn't have said that any better. Wow, I love that. I love that. You said they have that's a struggle within themselves.
Mhm.
A struggle within themselves. So what if so what is HRIS? As an organization, as a people leader, like why should I have a HRIS? What is that all about? Like we don't have time for that. We just do everything on spreadsheets. We just count people. Like what is that?
So I find that HRIS is the most the acronym doesn't fit what it really is, right? So, human resources information systems, right? Most people would think, okay, well, these are just IT people that sit in HR. Pretty much that's what people think and boil it down to they deal with data all day.
Yeah.
It's so much more of that, right? If you look into any organization, your two or three most, and I won't say important because I'm going to use the word important, but it's lack of a better one. Um, in every organization, you have departments, divisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of your main departments, I should say, and I won't say important, but main departments, you're going to find your finance department, your human resources department, your payroll department is normally connected to finance, your budget department, which is normally connected to finance, and your IT division, right? Most organizations, small, large, or super huge, you need those in organizations or those departments in order to function.
Right.
So human resources information systems is the liaison or the connection between all three of those, right? How do we take process, operations, guidelines, compliance, and all of those different things and make it a functioning full life cycle for an employee and an organization? So human resources is a connector of that. We are connected from the time you source your talent to the time that you retire your talent, right? And everything in between. And so we touch HR, we touch IT, we touch finance around payroll, budget, and all of those different things. So it's the connector of all things. So we're not just sitting in data and analysis. Yes, that's part of the job. Matrices, that's part of the job. Setting up the systems and implementing systems in order for our HR transactions or our talent management and our recruitment and our performance and our time and attendance and all of those things to work. We are part of that, but we are a major part of making the connection between all of those departments and also being an area that you can find where you have handicaps or areas of to be able to improve.
Got it. So you work with the government. You've been working with the government for quite some time.
Yes.
And I used to dabble in some work with the government in one or two of my positions, and I know quite a few people that work in the government. And doesn't matter what government, what city, what state, I hear kind of the same things, right? That they're always behind as it relates to processes, softwares, and all that stuff. So the big word right now, buzzword going around is, two-letter word AI, which is artificial intelligence. And are you guys using it?
Yes. We're using it all through our organization. I just had a conversation literally I would say about 45 minutes before I engaged with you.
Yeah.
With my procurement division, and we are actually working on a separate podcast using one of our vendors that we use AI for. And I was so excited on that call with the vendor and the procurement division. They're doing some innovative things within their space as well. And it's kind of like spilling over into HR and hopefully spills over to the rest of the organization. To answer that question, essentially, or statement,
yeah.
I find that there is a misconception when it comes to the government environment. Now, some true, all of the little different hearsay that you've heard about government being, a little bit slower to pace, how they respond to things. There is truth there. However, it's environmental more than anything else, right? So in the government setting, you have a lot more structure. There's a lot more compliance. So, we have a lot more rules and regulation that we have to abide by than in the corporate setting, right? Because you're dealing with taxpayers' money. So anytime you're dealing with individuals and taxpayers' money, you have to be very methodical about how you choose to spend money or how you choose to operate, right?
Right.
Um, I find that there's also like a little bit of fear in that too as well, because
Yeah.
you don't want to be exposed for doing the wrong things with any from a financial standpoint or even just initiative standpoint, right? So that you have mayors, you have all these different individuals, and it gets very political. I do believe though that there is a opening for AI, and a major one in the government space, because it allows us to work smarter instead of harder. AI, there's a misconception with AI that AI is here to take people's job. I will tell you that I am a techie individual, and as I should be, as I'm a HRIS
Yeah.
director.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
However, I love technology. You name it, the newest phone to the newest tablet to the different softwares to implemented platforms. Like I get Google eyes when I start playing with things, right? And so when AI came out, especially with ChatGPT, and then we have all of these different, I can list off tons of different organizations and vendors that have AI right now, and you see it all over the internet. You go onto Instagram, if you even say AI on your phone, you start getting all of these marketing campaigns, right? I will tell you, for me, I use all of them. I use ChatGPT, I use R1 AI, I use quite a few other ones. There's called something called Beautiful AI, which is like a PowerPoint presentation. I've used
Yeah. I've
I've used
used that.
all of
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And so it's not a cheat code. I think there's some people using it as such, and it could be for some people. Um, but for individuals like myself who like and have a passion for the work that they do, and I will always be a hard worker, it has turned me into a super person. Honestly, you know how they use the word super user? No, I'm super user to the 10th power. What I could used to be able to do by myself, I now can do it to the 10th power. So it's almost like even though I have a team of 18, we sometimes work like we're a team of 25, because me, myself, I'm able to do so much faster with using those different platforms and tools and resources.
So how do you now that you say that, like what are the people out there that are saying, I don't even know where to begin? One. Two, and when I do begin, how do I know if I'm not too far to the left or too far to the right? You want to be right in the sweet spot, right? Because this entire month of July, we've been covering AI and how EQ and AI can live in the same world, right?
Oh,
And what does
100%.
right? Some people are leaning, more to this way or to that way, or not leaning in at all because they're scared of it. What do you say to all that?
So, personal experience. So I have been told, I'm going to be very transparent. I've been told before, like I could be robotic, right? So some of my replies could even be robotic at times, right? Like if I'm in the mood and I'm just like going, like I'm data analysis, I'm
I call that
configuring.
flow, juries. I call that flow. You in flow.
Listen, I'm in the zone. When I'm in the
Right.
zone, if I get like an email, I'll be very short. Like I'll do a short message. Yep, that, or hey, can you get me this, or can you get me? And we sometimes forget that people read tone, right? Everyone reads tone in email, right? Especially if you're intimidated. It doesn't have to be a negative interaction that you have with somebody at your job, right? It could be that there's an intimidation, and not because they're intimidated by your mind or smarts or anything like that. I think that you're better. More so that they're intimidated because of their own insecurities or their own ignorance in certain areas. So when your interaction comes back and forth and it doesn't seem like it's either friendly or soft, that could come across really bad. So I'll tell you how AI helps me. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to do without it anymore, right? So
What about EI? You got to cover EI too.
Wait, so
Okay.
it works hand in hand. Okay.
Okay.
So sometimes I will write a whole message to my team, or I'll write a whole message to my leadership, right?
Yeah.
Before I would write it, you would reread it a couple times. You might even ask your partner or your friend to reread it because you want to make sure that the tone is right or grammar is okay and all of those different things before you send it, right? But that would take you how long? Okay, you've reread it like 3 or 4 times. You stepped away from it. You came back. Now this email is seemingly sitting there for 3 hours because you need to make sure that it's right before you send it. Then you send it to another colleague. They might be busy. They take 45 minutes to an hour to read it. Hey, it seems good to me. Send it back, right? So
Yeah.
now it's a half a day for you to just send an email to an audience because you want to make sure it's perfect. With AI, it takes me 15 minutes. And the reason that is I will put together an entire email and I will go in AI and I will say, I would like you to rewrite this with this tone. I'm trying to get this message across and I'd like you to keep my words. People don't understand AI is just, it's like an assistant, right? That's exactly, it's an artificial intelligence assistant, essentially. You could talk to it like you would talk to a person. And I think that that's a misconception. Some people go into AI and go like, oh, write me a whole essay on trees. And then it writes them a whole essay on trees. You don't have your words in it. That's like plagiarism, right? They cut and they paste and they submit that. No, not if you're using AI the right way, you are creating your own words. Someone said I'm guilty. I see that. And you know what? Sometimes that's
He
okay.
said he's guilty.
Listen, sometimes that's okay if you are in a crunch time and you reread what's there and you're like, okay, this is exactly what I want. But try your hardest when you are doing that to interact with your AI. I interact with mine. I don't let it do the work for me. I will write out what I need to write out. I will put it into paragraph and then I will tell AI, I will say, make this better. And then it'll come back with a version for me. And I will say, I'll read it and I'll go, take that line out. Please move this, take that. It's an interactive tool that can get you to close to perfection, right? Before you make that submission. I even told it this morning. I was replying to one of my colleagues that I absolutely love in payroll, and we go back and forth all the time on technical aspects, and they needed to create a pay element. And so I wanted to tell him in so many words that, yeah, we need this pay element because he was telling me, hey, we do not need it. We have one, right? And I wanted to tell him, yeah, we need it still because I want it to look or do a certain thing, right? But I didn't want to offend him, right? So my original email, I was like, yeah, I don't know. We need the other one, I know you're saying to use this, but we need the other one. I cut and paste that into AI and I said, I told it. I said, tell this person, in a kind way, in a collaborative way, that I need the other payout. And it sure enough spit out for me in a collaborative way. And I was like, perfect, great. I cut and I pasted in the email and I sent it along, right? Because our tone can come across in email, especially in this world, a virtual world of working from home, being remote. Tone is read more so than ever before, right?
100%.
So you want to make sure that your message and your point gets across without people being hanged up on tone. Sometimes you're saying so many important things, but people are going to stick on the one line that seems offensive to them, right? So AI helps you take all of that out, and we stay strict to the project at hand or the initiative at hand, the task at hand, and we can get past that. Another thing it does is I have been told in my lifetime that I'm wordy. I don't know how to turn that off. Right? I don't know how to turn that off. Sometimes I share way too much information. And I feel that the more information I give you, you have it up front. And that way I don't have to come back and forth. We don't have that back and forth, right? So, in heart, can you hear me? I think we lost audio.
No,
okay,
I can hear you.
All right, great. So by nature and in heart, I think I should have been a writer, right? So people who are like that tend to be more wordy, right? So what I've done with my AI and my ChatGPT, I would put it in, I will take my entire wordy blurb or whatever write-up I have, and I will tell it, point this, pull out major points. Rewrite for me, pull out major points. I want this to hit a specific targeted group. I want it to be a strategic message. I want these individuals' eyes to go straight to the key points. And it will spit it right back out to me, sometimes just as wordy as I did it. And then I will tell it again. I'll be like, nope. Literally, I can use these words. There's no big words I use. I go, nope, too wordy. And then it'll spit it out again. And then I will reread it, and I will like, okay, remove that word, enter that word, and give it to me again. There is a misconception about AI because people are like blown away by the fact that you can go in there and say, give me an entire strategic plan on this project that I'm doing tomorrow. And it spits the whole thing out for you. And so you're scared of that because you're like, well, I couldn't sit here in my seat and write this entire thing up in 5 minutes. And this thing can, for individuals that are intimidated by this type of technology, that's what it plays out to be, right? If you use it and utilize it the right way, it can enhance your skill set and enhance your job, but you cannot be lazy. And so that's the one thing I will tell you.
So you mentioned earlier tone. Okay. I was on this training actually Friday for Professional Development Day, and Kate Elgayeva mentioned she's an AI guru, and she said the issue is not to pick between AI and EI, it's to create a synergy between them, right? Because they can both live and they can both feed off of each other in a perfect way, but the thing is not to overuse one or the other. You can't go all AI and get rid of all of your employees. And
100%.
you can't just have your employees and not have any technology or software that is cutting edge out there, because it makes your organization better. What do you think about that?
100%. I have challenged AI because that's just how I am. I will accept things that I know it can't answer for me because it's not human. Right? The EQ part is the human element. You can never replace that. Machine cannot tell you.
Can you say that again?
The EQ part is the human element. You never can replace that. Okay? There is just something that comes from experience. AI is experience of other people's experience, right? It's not authentic. It learns based on what it's seen on the internet, what people has posted, and that comes from individuals, right? And that comes from individual experiences, individual ideas, individual brains and thoughts. The emotional factor is that we feel. AI doesn't, right? So we can judge a situation based on the feeling of the room. That's why you will have some leaders that don't like virtual meetings. They don't like the fact that individuals are remote. They prefer the human
in-person
element because they can judge someone's response better, right? Because body language goes a lot into that. If you ever seen creating an AI person, they have no body language. It's stoic. It's like today, tomorrow, whatever you feed it, and it'll say it, right? For the most part. Don't take human out of HR. Correct. 100%. And I agree with that. I think that AI is a complement to that. There's nothing that can replace the human understanding and being able to sit in front of someone. They tell you their story, they tell you their challenges, and they see another person staring back with them with empathy in their eyes and body language that displays empathy and that they feel understood and heard, right? You can't replace that with AI. You can't replace that with an email. You can't replace that with a project that doesn't have the human interaction.
100%. So give us some essential tips, strategies for proper AI HRIS integration, and how they should look at it instead of running away from it or running too far into it. Give us some tips that we can make sure to keep in mind when looking at that.
So I've touched on a few. Using it to kind of reword your words to ensure that your message is coming across the right way. Because sometimes the emotional element does get involved too as well and can hinder your message from coming across too. It goes both ways, right? And so using AI in order to make sure that your message is strategic, your message is straight to the point, and it gets your point across, right? And so that you can move through projects, tasks, initiatives very seamlessly, right? It also helps cut down the timing on what you spend your time on, right? Whether you have a report to write, whether you have a strategic plan to write, whether you have training that you need to give, right? And the training is a little bit more robust, so it takes a little bit more time to put it together with AI. But it also helps you deliver it in a way that is seamless, right? You don't have to now go to every location and find a room and bring people in. Now, in some scenarios, it's going to still need that. That's why the human element cannot be replaced, right? You have to be able to judge a scenario and say, okay, well, in this scenario, I can use an AI presentation or an AI training. In this scenario, I need human interaction and I need to utilize both. So I'm going to still need a presentation. So let me go ahead and incorporate an AI into my presentation, but there's still that human element of conversation and being able to sit down after, right? So utilize it as a complement to what you already bring to the table, not as a replacement.
100%. What, you being in the government and in various organizations for quite some time, what are some common challenges you've seen that organizations have when implementing HRIS or facing that they realize that they need technology or to fight against it?
The devil's in the details. I think that's going to be something I plaster a class. I'm going to make t-shirts. Devil in the details.
Let me buy
it. So with HRIS, those who have a high level view of what it is, they don't really know how intricate it is to program something, configure something in a system, right? And believe it or not, that's the easy part. Putting together SQL code, scripting. If you're good at it, you're good at it. And that's the easy part. Believe it or not, if you're really good at it, you can do it in 5 minutes or you can do it in 5 days, depending on the task or the project, right? What individuals tend to lack with, or what we tend to lack on in environments and organizations is the grunt work, right? There's a lot of grunt work that has to happen in order for your systems to work the right way, in order for your administration to be the right way, right? And so you start with rules and regulations, compliance. For me, it's the government environment. So you have ordinances, you have CBAs, which is collective bargaining agreements. They all have guidelines as to how you treat employees, their benefits, and the transactions associated with them, right? You first need to put a team together that dives into the details of what that is. If you're telling, and this is simple, if you say that today we want this red button to be blue, and on Thursdays, we want it to be green. And on Fridays, we want it to be yellow, right? There is an entire process that goes along with making that happen. And in order for your HRIS, your systems vendor to make sure that on Mondays it's red, Tuesdays is blue, Wednesdays is yellow, and Fridays is green, right? There is detail that comes into that needs for them to have in order for them to configure that the right way. So you have to start, the devil's in the details. You have to bring your focus group together. And that focus group includes your super users. That focus group includes the audience that needs to utilize and make sure that the button is pressed, right? The button is pressed on Monday or pressed on Tuesday or pressed on Fridays, right?
Yeah.
And so you bring that entire team together and you make sure you know everybody's role and what the process is within that. And you make sure you go all the way through that before you configure your system in order to make it better.
You spoke about the grunt work, that you need to be able to roll up your sleeves and just do the stuff that it's not the fun part of it.
Oh,
probably not the fun part.
That's
so you got to roll up your sleeves.
You to talk to various individuals That's the cross-functional part, right? What does IT have in this? What does finance have in this? What does payroll have in this? Okay, what does our HRBPs deal with this? And then how does it affect our employees, right? You have to look at it from all aspects and all roles to ensure that what you put in your system works the right way. And then you have to be accountable for that process once it's done.
100%. When I was at one of my recent positions that I had a couple years ago, we were implementing a new learning management system, and then in another company was a HRIS system. Same basics, kind of checking with all of the different departments and partners that you're partnering with. A lot of the work, when I was working with a lot of the leaders felt like, since this is not something my department is doing, why do you need to meet with me? Why do you need to talk to us? Just go and do it, and we'll figure it out afterwards. What do you think about that?
Oh, I hear that all the time. I've even heard that from my team members sometimes. They'll go, okay, well, Reese, why'd you send us this meeting, right? And then I have to challenge them, and I'd be like, oh, do you know about this process? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, what do you do in the process? Oh, we're only the individuals on the end. We kind of just approve. I said, but wouldn't it be great if you knew all the players in the process ahead of you, the A to Z?
Yeah.
You always have to, every implementation that I've worked on, interface project, internal project, mini, small, big, I'm known for pulling everybody together. And it doesn't make sense to them at first, right?
Yeah.
However, that's how you get something from A to Z and to resolution in the best way possible. Because if you don't have all the players to the table, then you're not making the best decisions. I will also say that there's a theme or a phrase that I want to catch on in the industry. And I think that every organization that is implementing any new system, any new process, and it's not just isolated to HRS systems, it's to anything in your system that's going in your organization is going to change.
Yeah.
You have to have a mentality to switch the decision maker's seat. Switch the decision maker's seat. Your decision makers are not your leaders. Your decision makers are not your managers. Your decision makers should be the employees that are doing the job. They do it every day. They can tell you where the handicaps are. They can tell you where the pitfalls are. They can tell you where the pain points are in the process. And if they are ultimately responsible for the resolution or solution or wherever you're trying to come to, right? If they're responsible for the end result, right? That's what I was looking for, the end result. You want to ensure that they have a say in whatever is being done, because you know it'll be done right. Because we tend to have in organizations at the very top level, we have, leaders who essentially are removed from processes, making decisions on the processes. It should be a marriage, right? They should be married at the hip, right? You still have a leader. They still need to know what's going on because they have a bigger picture that you're not privy to sometimes, whether it be budget, whether it be constraints, whether it be something coming down the line, reorganization, you don't know, right? And nor should you know at that level of the organization. However, they need to bring in their super user, their end user in with them. So it's a perfect marriage, right? So your end user is looking at it from one perspective, and that's get it done and results and get it done right. And your leader is looking at it from how are we strategic, how we meet our goals, how we do that under budget, climate and environmental changes, right? And so that together makes the perfect marriage. And right in between that is change management.
Yeah.
And so if you have that alignment, imagine how wonderful and easy your change management becomes.
Yeah.
Right? The word of mouth. And those individuals from this top are going to tell you who to pull in, and from the bottom, from the end user, they're going to tell you who to put in. And then that's your change management focus group. And if we are aligned, then your change management message is aligned. Right?
Smooth. And then the transition and the process, it's all smoother because everybody that knows, and everybody that has a hand in it has a hand and a say in it, right?
100%. And another thing is, you give them a voice. So there may be an analyst, there may be a specialist, and let's say for some reason your job or classification structure is not tiered where they know what their next professional development move is, or their next professional development position is. By giving them a voice, even in their own seat, right? They feel that they're contributing to the organization in a great way. And
Yeah.
so that gives them a more fulfillment in their role, and they want to grow more, they want to learn more, they want to take on more initiative. They take on a responsibility at a higher level and not just sitting in their seat, because you have so many employees. Listen, my job is to come in here, press this blue button all day, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to press the right button. I'm not going to be over, zealous and go over here doing that. My job is to press the blue button. And the reason that that mentality exists is because someone didn't pull them into decision making. Someone didn't pull them into feeling like they are part of an organization and part of making decisions that affect their job and affect the people at their level too as well. And so when you do that, you create a beautiful connection between the top level of the organization and sometimes the mid level of the organization to your goals.
Do you think that by pulling them in, it motivates them to
Yes.
be a part?
And it exposes, it's a double edge there, right? It exposes the areas there may not have they're weaker in. It exposes where they may need professional development. It allows you from a leadership and a management standpoint to say, okay, that decision, they needed a little bit more information, they needed to work on it. Okay, well, this is what I'm going to provide to that employee for them to get more engaged and increase their skill set in order for them to be better at it, right? And you create a beautiful banter where you're like, okay, I see it from your perspective, but look at it from our perspective. And they're learning. They're learning it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been in so many different departments, and I've seen leaders that didn't have that tact, that didn't have that emotional intelligence when making these kinds of changes. How vital you think that is for situations like this?
Oh, 100%. Let me tell you again. So let's go back to you don't move the human element out of just your interactions daily. So AI and all of those different things are challenging the space of, oh my gosh, they're moving the human out of HR, right? Or moving the human element out of many different areas.
Yeah.
But it feeds into that. That's how you connect further. That's how you ensure that individuals are on the same page and moving in the same direction, and we have the same mission and goal. Right? By opening up those abilities and the opportunities to be able to have those conversations and have those opportunities to be aware for growth and enhancement across the board.
There were, I give an example of when we were implementing that learning management system. The leader, yes, they brought the specialist and the coordinator and the analysts and different team members to the meetings and made them a part of it with the executive leaders or the VPs or the directors. But what was missing is that not until the environment, their presence was there, but not until the environment, the culture wasn't set for them to raise their hand.
Very good
and say
point.
something. They're saying it after their meeting. They're not saying it during the meeting when it's crucial where we're talking about this stuff, right? So
Very good point.
what do you what do you think?
That's on the leader.
That employee should have known better. They should have spoke up. That's why I invited them. Why you think I invited you? You should have spoke up.
You have to create an environment for individuals to feel comfortable enough to share knowledge, whether right or wrong. You have to create an environment where people feel comfortable to share, whether they feel right or wrong. A lot of individuals won't raise their hand because they're not confident in the space, so they are afraid that if they say the wrong thing, they'll be ridiculed or seen as not able to do their job. That comes from environmental. That's environmental. And that is the responsibility of the leader. You have to create space for your organization or your division to be able to talk. And how you do that is you pull them in, right? To your interactions, not just you pull them in and you say, hey, what do you feel about that? Ron, what do you feel about that, Bob? What do you feel about that, Jan? And then you let them know, even if they're timid, you be like, hey, I want you guys to know this is the space. It's okay. Say what you need to say. Whether you feel it is right or it's wrong, this is the space. You have to curate that. You have to create that space. And then you have to continuously keep doing it until their confidence builds enough for them to be able to, you're now able to release the reins. And when you release the reins, you need to be proud and step back.
Ooh. That's a whole vibe right there. You said release.
I can't tell you, and this is no show. If you have an interview with some of my employees, and I would pick it, and I would tell them, tell the truth, right? I can't tell you how it makes me feel good, and I give kudos, and they know when I feel good. I give kudos, right? It makes me feel good when I have incited in their minds and their space a way to do something better. I say insight, giving them feedback that's an insight into doing something a different way, or to challenging themselves to push past their lack of confidence in that area to push forward. And when I see it happen, it brings me joy. Silent joy to the point that I'm bursting from the roof. Like last night, I had a great example of that, of an employee that I have kind of been challenging to move into a senior space. And I told this employee, this is what I'd like to do from a quality assurance and checks and balance standpoint. I want you to start sending these things out and making individuals list. Now, I didn't tell them what time of day to do it. I don't expect that they work like I do. I'm like a robot. I work at all hours. But I did see last night while I was up at like 12 a.m. in the morning, don't ask me why, doing some work, that she was sending these things seemingly out from the email box. And my first thought was, oh Lord, I need to just email her and tell her to go to bed. And like, you don't have to do this, right? But maybe it's the time that she chooses to work. So she was sending them out. And in the midst of it, I was like, look at this. All I had to do was say, hey, I think we should challenge ourselves to do this way so that we can get a better results here. And so I took the opportunity at 12 a.m. to write her a kudos, and I put my boss and I put my boss's boss in there. And I said, look at this. I said, now this is amazing. Thank you for doing this. And I said, you know what this will do? This can now allow us to have a KPI for accountability for something else. I want you to look into being able to do that as your next step for this. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so proud of you. And I sent it. It's a beautiful thing to watch people grow and to give them advice. I don't know everything. I'm still learning, especially where emotional intelligence is concerned. I'm still learning in that space. Every day I learn something new about myself and how I'd like to be perceived by the world. And so I'm growing in that space too, but it's a beautiful thing for the things that you are good at and you have expertise in, to bring people along and to share your knowledge with them and to see them grow and sometimes even surpass you. Okay. I have a past employee from a different employer who calls me all the time. And we're actually really good friends right now. And she's like, you know what? I just want you to do so well in life. She says, you've gifted me so much in my professional career. And to the point where she's making probably close to like millions soon. But she's like, I'm just so happy that you, and she comes back to me all the time. She says, you gifted me everything that you knew, and I took it and I ran with it. And I told her, I'm just absolutely proud of you, and I want to see you reach the stars. You want people to be successful at their job. You want people to be successful in these spaces. There's the human interaction part. We talk about AI, you talk about EQ, you talk about all these things that are coming to take our jobs. Nothing can take the job, because you have to be the type of individual that wants to pay it forward, that wants to learn, grow, research, and help individuals along with you. These things are tools in order to get us there. They're not replacements. So
Yes, you said so much. You There are two things that, and I'm so glad that you did that. You when your when your employee, when you gave her that advice and suggested that to her, she just ran with it, or he or she just ran with it, and did it. You didn't have to tell them when, how, all of this stuff. They just took the initiative based on what you advised.
correct.
And though the email was going out all the different hours, I was gonna say, well, where work-life balance? And then you mentioned exactly that. Hey, I don't want you working the crazy hours that I'm working, but I know that I do the crazy hours, but you're separating yourself to say it's okay for you to do it whatever that time looks like for you, best for you. And at the same time, then you gave her kudos. I don't think I can, maybe one I can think on all the different jobs that I've had, that a leader put me on an email from work that I did. I got a lot of people taking advantage of, the work
The
that I
work that
did and
you
putting
did.
their name on
Yes.
it, right? Putting their name on it, but never, really putting my name on an email, probably once or twice. But if people just take that alone with what you just said, that is enough, right? Because to your point that you said, as well, that it's paying it forward. Employees, so we graduate from college, from school, and all of these different certification and trainings and whatever, and you get that knowledge. What do you do with that knowledge, right? You
Correct.
gather all this information. What do you do with that? How do you go out into the world and show that you are a better human now because of what you have learned? And that's where I think employers and leaders have a really advantage, right? Creating those people that are going to become better humans for the world that you're going to leave behind one day. What are your thoughts?
100%. No, you are spot on with every comment that you've made. I think that people think that you just go to school, you learn the skill set. Like I said, it's the difference between a person that sits there and just presses the blue button all day, and someone that challenges themselves to see, okay, well, I press this blue button all day. Is the timing right on it? Is it tall enough? Should it be blue? Should it be green? Does anybody else share this thinking? Should I pull them in on those thoughts? How can we make this blue button better for the process or for the employee or for whatever target audience we have for our workforce, right? That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Between someone who just acquires something just to do what they need to do to get a paycheck versus individuals that acquire something in order to elevate and bring others along, right? Join in with that. And that doesn't have any race, color, creed, nothing attached to it. Gender, none of that, right? That's
Nothing.
just being a wonderful, innate human being that you want to see what you exude from yourself into the rest of the world. I want to see a society that is just diverse. And yes, I'm going to use that word because it's had such connotations lately. But I want to see an environment that is completely diverse, where there is people from all walks of life, all colors, all creeds, all of those different things, that we can come together and help each other to a common goal. There is no more beautiful feeling than the beauty of being able to celebrate each other together.
100%. I agree. I agree. I agree. So two things before we kind of get out of here and kind of wrapping up, because this has been yummy. Jerry's, I think you're going to be coming back. I
I hope
think you're
so.
gonna be coming
I like to talk, as you can tell.
No, this is great. You're dropping straight up gems after gems here for the community. So, speak to the people that are just starting out in their career. Speak to those
Okay.
frontline employees. Give them a message, and then I want you to do the same thing for, you're coming from a leader. Are those employees a leader? Would you consider them a leader? Speak to them and then speak to the leader, and then give them both a message from your heart.
So my message to employees or individuals that are coming into the space, individuals that are already into this space, keep challenging yourself for learning and growing. Keep researching, do a lot of reading, and self-awareness is where you start. That's the start. That's the start of line right there. You have to be aware of your own triggers, your own insecurities, whether your personal or professional life, because they spill into each other, right? And that is aligned with emotional intelligence. That's aligned with work-life balance and affects all of those different things, believe it or not. So if you research, you challenge yourself to figure out, what is the goal? What do I want to get from this environment? Is it just a paycheck? Is it something that I'm passionate about? Because you have to truly ask those questions for yourself and be honest. Because if it's not something you're passionate about, this is going to be harder work, right? It's going to be harder to stay engaged. It's going to be harder to challenge yourself. It's going to be harder to accept any tools that are available to us to be better at our job. It starts with yourself. Um, and so that's my message to employees or to individuals coming into the space. Stay self-aware, know what your passion is, know what you want to get into, and go after those different things. And stay curious and open. Understand that there's tone in everything, which is why you get AI to help you take it out. Understand that there's a more smarter and strategic way to work without being lazy, and AI can help you with that. And nothing replaces the human interaction. So if you want, you pay forward what you want for yourself. If you want respect, if you want understanding, if you want better pay, if you want a better position, you have to do the research of the right ways to align yourself to those things to get to the next level. For our leaders, the message is, stop being the decision makers without aligning yourself with the individuals that do the job every day. You must align yourselves with the individuals that are responsible for the end result. You must align yourself to them to the point where their thoughts, their ideas are taken into serious consideration. And you have to also know that experience plays a role into that. So your analyst that's a little bit more experienced might have more to offer than your analyst that's less experienced. You don't compare the two. You take what you need from them and you help them grow. So you help your less experienced analyst grow a little bit better, your less experienced specialist grow a little better. You fight for opportunities to be able to do that. Resources, budget, that's what we need you at that level, right? Strategic, encouragement, cheerleaders. That's what you should be at that level. I have so much more I could give, but we don't have enough time. So until another podcast.
You gave them a lot. They gotta go back to the drawing board with that. HRIS, I just wanna thank you so very much for this, for dropping in, for just sharing your energy and your knowledge and your intelligence with us. And yes, we all are growing in all of the different intelligence modes, right? And the point is to what you said earlier, stay curious, stay
100%.
open-minded, be flexible to learn and to say, maybe I don't have it figured out. Maybe I don't know it all.
100%.
And that's okay, right?
Exactly.
And that's okay. The point is to do something about it, right? To do something about it and to see, research and see where else you can go from there. Tell everybody how they can reach out to you if they want, to get more of your energy, learn more about you, stay in contact with you.
Wonderful. Tag me on LinkedIn. Send me a message. I know sometimes with LinkedIn, if you don't have certain accounts, you can't send an in-mail message to individuals. So just tag me on your wall and say, "Hey, HRIS, contact me." And I'll reach out if I can. You can. I do believe I have an email in my LinkedIn. If not, I will provide it to Dr. Dale, and we could post it in the post that you can utilize an email to get in touch with me. And I will give you nuggets of knowledge. I will help you with any experience. You will help me with some of your experiences, because I'm not above learning. I'm still learning myself, which I think is a beautiful space to stay in. I stay curious every day. And I'd like to give a special message. Thank you, Dr. Dale. I met her at a speaking engagement that I had in April, and she was such a light. I love what you're doing. I'm here for it every day, all day. So you let me know the next time you want to have me on. But I also want to give a message to my team. So if anybody got to tune in, and I'm going to actually send them the links. I love what you're doing. I thank you for having me as your leader, and I thank you for trusting me. And I hope that we can trust each other even more into the next level, because I am taking us to the moon.
Oh my goodness. I want to be
Dr.
one
Dale.
of your employees. This is amazing. So that's it, you guys. 1 hour of pure gold. Once again, thank you guys for dropping in. Thank you for being here, for dropping into your weekly post check with Dr. Dale. We're here every Wednesday, 12:15 for about 30 minutes or an hour when we have amazing guests like the amazing and beautiful HRIS Isaac. So yes, you guys, we're gonna post this, but actually it's on my page, and I'm gonna also, I think I tagged HRIS in it as well. So we're gonna be posting some of this content throughout the rest of the weeks coming up. So
And I'll also repost to get a little bit more into the nitty gritty high topics. I'll repost some things about streamlining recruitment and how AI and AQ works in that, personalizing employee development, and some system things associated with the topic that we talked about to kind of get.
I'm telling you, I think we're gonna have to do a 2.0 version of this.
Awesome.
So much. Thank you so much for dropping in and for listening in. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll chat soon, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye, you guys.